Hello, good morning from Luxembourg. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see always all these hellos from different cities and countries. I love that. Uh, Great. So let's get started. There's still people joining, but since we have a very interesting and packed agenda, I will start with introductions. So welcome everybody to another Data Europa Academy webinar. Actually, the last one before our Academy summer break, but okay, we will come back. No worries about that. It's always wonderful to see such community. Welcome to the ones that are new to our webinars, and hello again to the ones that always come to our events. I can already recognize some names. Today's webinar is next steps to compliance, preparing to the EU Artificial Intelligence Act, which is going to be a legal policy webinar. Uh, as we know, we had the first comprehensive legislative regulation on artificial intelligence that entered into force in 2024 in August, with a gradual transition of 2 years. This regulation has left no one untouched, since it sets a sort of a roadmap that will determine the present and the future of our digital economy, and will result on many opportunities and challenges for European competitiveness. But there are so many questions, and many of them will be addressed in this webinar, such as what are the implications for the private and public sector? What is the interplay between data and artificial intelligence? And how can we ensure compliance with data protection? This webinar will give you and offer you a deep insight into artificial intelligence, especially the legislative act and the key regulatory concepts around it, what is required and how to prepare for it. We will not only stay there because, as we know, digital policies are strongly linked to one another. So we will also see the interplay with open data, data protection, since we see that data is an strategic asset for the development of this technology. But okay, first, um, we will set the rules of the game to ensure that this webinar is as smooth as possible. So this webinar will be recorded and will be published on the Data Europa Academy together with the slides. And all this content will be shared with you after the webinar takes place. We always have a big amount of our time to questions and answers. So please use the Click Meeting as you're using now for your questions throughout the presentations, because they will be addressed at the end of the session. And your feedback is very important for us to improve, to organize webinars according to your needs, and to see how we can develop future learning paths for you. So please reserve some time to reply to our feedback form and help us improve. But more importantly, now is the time to present the wonderful speakers who are here with us today. You may know me already, so I'm going to keep it very short. My name is Ima Farfan Velasco, and I'm project manager working for the Publications Office, part of the European Commission, on Data Europa EU, which is the European data portal. And I manage the Data Europa Academy. Together with me, I have Joanna Juzak, also working for the European Commission. She's a legal and policy officer at the AI Regulation and Compliance Unit of the AI Office. She's a qualified attorney, and she's specialized in advising on EU digital legislation. Her previous experience also include data protection associate at Wilson Sonsini law firm, and she also worked at the European Data Protection Board Secretariat. Welcome, Joanna. And we also have Inès Bedar. Inès is a senior data and AI strategy consultant for public and private entities and Capgemini Invent in Dubai. She has strong expertise in drafting and monitoring policies and regulation related to open data, personal data, and artificial intelligence. And she has been also a former legal advisor for the Prime Minister's Services and data protection advisor to the French Data Protection Authority. Well, having said this, this is how we will share together this hour. I will give the floor to Joanna and to Inés to go through their presentations, and then we will have this time for the Q&A. So please stay with us. Having said this, it's now time to have an introduction to the European legislation on artificial intelligence and to get into the insights behind it. So please, Joanna, feel free to take the floor, and thank you so much for the participation. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Inma, for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here and give some insights on the AI Act and the updates. I'll try to cover many aspects in short time, so please bear with me, and I present my own views. First, I wanted to focus on key regulatory aspects, concepts. So the AI Act is a pro-innovation, market-based product safety regulation. This already shows us that the AI Act is different from other EU legislation. So, for example, the well-known General Data Protection Regulation. Further, there is no regulation of technology as such, but of use cases. So we look at the intended purpose of the system rather at the technology as such. Finally, the AI Act follows risk-based approach. So we are applying rules in proportion to the level of the risk. So the higher the risk to cause the harm to the society, the stricter will be the rules. So in that context, we can talk about the 4 specific groups. So we had the prohibited practices, we have high-risk AI systems, we have transparency rules, and some risk-based rules for general purpose models. To dive into each category a little bit deeper, I wanted to stress that prohibited practices pose the risk that we find unacceptable and thus are not permitted. In reality, the list of the prohibited practices in the AI Act is very specific and includes 8 practices. And I encourage everyone who hadn't had a chance to look at it yourself and check it for yourself. For example, we have real-time remote biometric identification systems in publicly accessible spaces for the purpose of law enforcement. So you can clearly see that there are a lot of elements that need to be present for this specific use case to fall under the prohibition. Then moving to the second category, we have the high-risk AI systems, which are permitted, but are subject to a set of requirements and obligations to ensure that their use is safe. By now, I think some of you might be familiar with an example that my colleagues at the office and I would like to use to visualize and to kind of conceptualize the idea of the product safety regulation as AI Act is one. So I wanted to say that, yeah, when you take a flight, when you go to a hospital for a medical exam, you don't want the machines you are using to be unsafe or unregulated because you value your own life and your well-being. This is the same thing for the AI Act. We want to make sure, so we have those rules now in the context of high-risk AI systems to make sure that the AI is trustworthy and that we can rely on it in a safe way. We also have systems presenting only limited risk, and to those there will be some transparency requirements that would apply. For example, here we have AI use such as chatbots, and finally we have AI that will pose no risk or very minimal risk, and this is not covered by the AI Act. And I wanted just to conclude here that, as you can see, both prohibited practices and the high-risk AI systems, they are quite well described in the AI Act. So the use cases that would fall, they would always need to present specific elements to fall under qualification as a high risk or, for example, prohibited practices. So in reality, I would risk a statement that a lot of AI systems are not falling under AI Act and basically are not subject to its requirements. Moving further to the timeline. So in recent months and weeks, there has been a lot of talks and views represented in press that relate to the timeline of the implementation of the AI Act. There has been press coverage, maybe some of you will be familiar with it, called Stop the Clock, and a lot of concerns around it. So I wanted to have this part as well to fully clarify how what are the steps and how we are approaching it. So as Inma said, the AI Act applies in tranches, I would say. So not everything is enforceable and applicable as soon as the AI Act has entered into force in August 2024. So the first stage was the rules that apply already as of 2nd February 2025. And to be precise, these are the rules on prohibited AI practices and AI literacy. We are very soon reaching the next big milestone on 2nd August. So in few weeks, the rules on general purpose AI models will start to apply, and the deadlines for member states to establish supervisory authorities and adopt implementing laws on penalties. From that day onwards, providers placing general purpose AI models on the market must comply with their respective AI obligations. It is true that the Commission's enforcement only starts as of August 2026, so in 1 year. So yes, there will be no fines yet for this 1 year period, but I wanted to stress that this is not so-called grace period. Next, we'll have the rules on high-risk system listed in Annex 3, and the rules on transparency that would apply on 2nd August 2026. And at the final stage, the rules on high-risk systems listed in Annex 1 will apply on 2nd August 2027. AI's office priority now is to ensure that the AI Act is workable and its rules are clear and easy to apply. So how we are trying to achieve this this task and facing many challenges along the road. So we, to ensure that we are setting up a governance structures, we have the AI office that is constantly growing. We have AI board, and we'll also have two new advisory bodies, which are scientific panel and the advisory forum. A scientific panel will consist of independent experts to support the implementation and enforcement of the AI Act, and will advise the AI office and, upon request, the national market surveillance authorities on general purpose AI. And then we'll also have the advisory forum that will serve as a general advisory body to the Commission, and it will generally complement the scientific panel work. The Commission is also very active in providing guidance and support, and I will touch on it with providing specific examples in a more detail very soon. But here I wanted to stress that the guidelines are being designed to ensure the consistent and effective and uniform application of the AI Act across the entire European Union. So the Commission aims to provide legal explanations and practical examples, specifically focusing on practical examples because we understand how vital that is to understand the concepts, to help you, to help stakeholders to understand and comply with the AI Act requirements. As a lawyer, I also want to mention that the guidelines that we publish, they are non-binding, as that's the rule. The Commission is also working on supporting tools such as AI Act Service Desk, which will serve as an information hub with hopefully what we are trying to achieve, simple and straightforward information about the AI Act. And then further, we'll also have the public consultation to identify implementation challenges concerning this service desk, develop additional support, and consider further actions. So it will be a continued exercise to provide the most straightforward, clear information to you, to all of the stakeholders. By no means I am not no engineer. However, I would still like to mention a few very important initiatives that my colleagues with the technical background are working on. I wanted to mention AI Continent Action Plan, that sets the ambitious plan for the next coming 5 years. Here, the important role will play the AI factories and gigafactories. I assume some of you may be aware of it. We have a lot of going on in that area. There are plans to set up at least 13 AI factories across Europe, and they will support startups, industry, and researchers to develop AI models and applications. And then we'll also have up to 5 AI gigafactories. And these will be the large-scale facilities with massive computer powers and data centers. And we have launched the first call of interest and received very big, a lot of applications. And companies showing interest. So that's very encouraging and promising. We also have Apply AI strategy. So that is to operational the AI continent action plan that I just mentioned. We are focusing on sectoral bottom-up approach, identifying sector-specific application fields, also in the context for the EU competitiveness. The Commission has recently adopted guidelines on prohibited practices under AI Act and the definition of AI systems. So I wanted to dive here a little bit further and deeper. Some of you may already have looked at the guidelines and that aware, for example, that the guidelines on prohibited practices have almost 140 pages. That's a long document, but Commission often directs its guidelines to operators who then intend to look up parts that are of their interest. So, for example, when it's an AI system that touches on biometric data, they would look at the biometric section in the guidelines, not read from the page 1 to page 140. And similarly, if you are law enforcement, you would be looking really to get some insight and practical applications and compare the examples within that context of the law enforcement. So although they are quite lengthy, I encourage everyone to always be patient with the Commission as well, and understand that there may be some stakeholders who are interested in specific parts. So then the Commission wanted to make sure that we address all of the concerns and the practical examples for all of the 8 prohibited practices, and that's quite a lot to cover, and also to be trying to be as comprehensive as possible. 1 week ago, the Commission published the General Purpose AI Code of Practice. So that's very fresh. The code is a voluntary tool prepared by independent experts. We had the multi-stakeholder process. It's designed to help industry to comply with AI Act obligations specific for providers of general purpose AI models. I also invite everyone to explore our AI Pact webinars available on the Commission's digital strategy website. Those are the deep dives into specific requirements under the AI Act. For example, we have one concerning the prohibitions that complements the guidelines that the Commission published earlier. So yeah, that's very useful, and you can also see some of my colleagues explaining the concepts, definitions of the AI systems, how to approach understanding the AI Act. As I said, we're looking at the intended purpose, how to start when you are an operator. I highly recommend these to get more informed if you have questions. I also want to touch with a few insights on what to expect from now on, like what will happen in terms of regulatory aspects. So we are working on several deliverables that are expected by 2nd August. So again, in few weeks. We have several items that touch on the general purpose AI code of practice. So we still haven't finished the whole press event for that part. So in the following weeks, member states and the Commission will assess the adequacy of the code of practice. And additionally, the code will be complemented by the Commission guidelines on key concepts related to general purpose AI models, to be published still in July. We are currently running as well a call for expression of interest for advisory forum and scientific panel that I mentioned earlier. And I think both of those calls close in September. So I as well invite everyone to look it up if you're interested. If you want to apply as an expert, you are free to do so. The Commission has also several files under preparation in autumn. So we are obviously planning ahead, and we have a lot of work that needs to be done following the AI Act, and also the Commission's intent to really make sure that the implementation goes smoothly, and we clarify the concepts that are not so understandable for the stakeholders further, and when we develop the tools, the support tools that we can offer to you. So there's a lot going on. So for example, the Commission is working on guidelines on high-risk classifications. This will, as mandated by the AI Act itself, this will dive deep into what are the high-risk use cases and what are not. So we'll try to go from Annex 3 examples and use cases for the high risk systems, and really provide useful and practical advice and guidance on how to deal with that. So, and how to qualify the system as high risk, and how it's all working together. So we'll have specific sections and also specific examples to really simplify your life. On that one, we had a stakeholder consultation that closes today, as I just checked before the webinar. So we'll now have this consultation at our hands, and we'll analyze it, and also that will inform our drafting of the guidelines. We also have implementing Act on the AI's regulatory sandbox. That is one of our priorities for fall 2025. So that will help as well with establishing and the rules on maintaining the AI regulatory sandboxes. And to me personally, that's very exciting. I'm also working on that file. We will have the EU database for high-risk AI systems. That's also kind of connected to the previous point that I mentioned with the guidelines on high risk. And we also have a very awaited guidelines on the interplay with some EU legislation, in particular on the interplay between the AI Act and EU data protection law. We hear many voices from stakeholders that these guidelines are very, very needed, and we are working together with the European Data Protection Boards and the data protection authorities that are part of the European Data Protection Board, to really develop the guidelines that will address those issues, address the interplay, and how specific requirements under the AI Act and EU data protection law go together, how we can leverage some compliance with some requirements under one regime, and then trying to use that for other regime. So although the approach might be different for both acts, specifically AI Act and GDPR. We will try our best to show the guidance how those requirements can be mutually reinforced, and the compliance can be mutually reinforced. As you can imagine, the AI office is very busy and continues on those many deliverables. And as I said, our goal is not to make the stakeholders' life harder by any means. What we want to do is that we have the AI that is trustworthy and for everyone to use in a safe way. And on that positive note, I'll finish my part. I hope this was helpful and interesting for participants, and thank you for listening from all of those places across Europe.
Thank you so much, Joanna, for the great introduction to, I would say, like this sneak peek on what is upcoming and what you're working on the AI office and the relevant work that you're doing, providing guidelines and tools from the European Commission to the different stakeholders on how to implement artificial intelligence according to this regulation. It's also good to see that you had also this code of practice and this calls for experts. So it's a great opportunity that we were organizing this webinar now. So please keep an eye on the AI office activities, because indeed there are a lot of things going on. Having said this, now it's time for Inès Bedar, who will introduce us the interplay between AI system and data. So thank you very much, Inès. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Inma, and thank you, Joanna. Really happy to be here with you today to discuss around AI system development, deployment, and the open data, which is like an important topic for the European Union. So let's start and let's deep dive directly into the subject. So as you may know, when we are talking about data, we are talking about like the strategic foundation layer of all AI system and use cases. So today we are facing an explosion of data, and it's good for the AI innovation, but it's important to outline this. We are expecting to surpass 2,000 zettabytes by 2035, which is a huge amount of data volume for sure. And the diversity of the data is like also important to outline, because as you may know, every day you as a citizen or as an employee or as a consumer, you are creating data. So the data is just coming from everywhere, from the website, from your mobile phone, your application, but also from ministries as well, and governments, some also scientific research, statistic studies, and so on and so forth. And it will help AI innovation, because data matters for AI, as I said. AI model learns from vast, diverse amount of data sets. AI needs a large quality of data to ensure a good accuracy and good prediction and insight. So it's very important to understand that without good data, we can't build good AI use case and system as well. So now let's have a look on the AI life cycle, the AI use case life cycle, just to split, all the phases of the development and the deployment of an AI use case, and to see how the data it's like centric for each step. So an AI use case's life cycle could be divided into 5 phases. The first one is the use case identification and qualification. The second one is the framing phase. The third one is the development phase. The fourth one is the industrialization phase. And last but not least, the run phase. For the first one, the ideation and qualification, this is the phase where we will gather like the business needs, generating idea, consolidating also the use case lists. So the data is like very important for this case, because it will help to identify the real business problem, challenge, the target that we want to go through, and also the objective, and identify the gaps between the current situation and what are the objective of a company or an administration, for example. And because of the data, we will be able to assess, the feasibility of this kind of AI use cases. During the framing, the data will be like very important to scope the AI use cases, to define the purpose, and to ensure that we will select like the appropriate AI techniques, all the tech stack. During the development, data, it's like, as you may know, very important to train the model, to validate the model as well, and to test the model. And because of the data, you will be able to, fine-tuning your model specifically to your purpose at the end. During the industrialization, the data is like such important to ensure that your model will be robust and also scalable for the entire company or the entire ministries, for example. And with the data, you will be able to monitor, the output and how, your model just work and what is like its behavior. And during the running phase, the data is almost centric to monitor, your model, to improve continuously and to ensure that the performance is here and you run like in the right way your AI use cases. So just to summarize, that data is like a key topic when we are talking about AI use case development and deployment. And I want to outline that because a lot of organizations, like both public and private organization, they want to develop a lot of AI use cases, but like the data foundation, the data layer is centric to do this, to develop these AI use cases as well. So now let's deep dive a little bit more on our topic today. So the open data. So we just saw, what is like the importance of data in terms of AI use case development and deployment. Now let's talk about the open data. So what is open data? A short and like easy to understand definition, because sometimes it could be like complicated to find one. Open data refers to information that is made available to the public without any restriction on access, usage, or distribution. I just want to repeat that: without any restriction on access, usage, or distribution. And it's very important to insist a bit on that because a lot of people think this data set is in open source, this is the open data, and so on and so forth. But at the end, it's not the case. So it's very important to refer to this definition to ensure that as a ministries or as a company, you are using like open data, which is like available without any restriction and any restriction around the distribution as well. So the European framework in terms of open data is quite proactive. And I think data.europa for sure is a good example. And we will talk about data.europa initiative as well just after. But if we look a little bit on the European AI Act, there is not like explicitly mentioned around open data. Sometimes we have this kind of confusion between open data and open source. So inside the EU AI Act, you can find like a proper framework for the open source, but we are talking about open models, not open datasets. But like the EU AI Act doesn't mention, open data, but the regulation creates implicit pressure to use like transparent, documented, and auditable datasets. And I saw the general purpose AI system code of conduct. So this is like a great example to say how the regulators, like just doesn't forget anything around open data and be sure that all the development and the deployment could be transparent, transparent for the end user. And if we check the broader European data regulation, I think you are aware about all the regulation, but at the European level, we have the Data Governance Act, we have the Data Act, we have the PSC Directive, which is like the Open Data Directive. And this regulation enables opening public sector data, but also reuse of protected data under clear condition and create some data altruism and data common as well. So what we can say today is just that the Europe is such proactive in terms of open data, because I think the continent just understood that this will be an enabler for AI innovation for sure. And let's have some example right here. As you may know, in Europe, we have some data space and hub initiative, which are very interested to look into, because it's like great example to understand what can we do exactly with open data in terms of AI development and deployment. We have the European Health Data Space, so the EHDS, which is, like a big hub to store a lot of health data to foster innovation, research, and so on and so forth. In France, for example, we have the same one, but like for our country, and we can see that it's very important for the healthcare sector to use this kind of data set, which is inside this hub. And of course, we have here with us data.europa, which is the EU official portal for open data. I saw the numbers of dataset. I think it was around like 1.5 million. It's huge. It's like very impressive. And it's a good example to see how countries can just feed these European portals to help the innovation as well. And let's take an example of an AI use cases based on open data. So it's a French one, but I'm sure we can find a lot of example in a lot of countries. So about this one, it was like the largest hospital network in Europe. And so this network used AI to forecast emergency room visits and hospital admission. And it was based on open data regarding the weather, regarding the flu statistics and holidays. So they built like a model, like a forecast model to predict some patient flow 15 days in advance. And the goal was like very important for citizen. It was to help staff to plan and have like better care services as well. So it's just to illustrate how the open data can help to innovate in the right way for European citizens, which like this can AI use cases has strong high value. And just wanted to share with you just below the infographic from data.europa, which is the Open Data Maturity Assessment for 2024. We have like the European country, and we have the assessment around like the policies. We have assessment around the portal, the existing portal, the impact, and the quality as well of the open data set. And I was thinking about that few days ago. I think the impact, like the red box, will just increase in the coming years because of the AI development based on open data. And just want to mention that it's like my French side, but I think France is like the number one. And yeah, thanks to my previous colleague in the French Prime Minister services with the Open Data Task Force, I think. But I know in Europe we are doing like well and good and strong work around the open data. We have like good ranking worldwide. And now I'm working outside the EU, so I can like just measure the effort that we are all pushing together in European country to do it in the right way, and to just to push a lot around the open data. So it's the moment to be proud of us, I think. And yeah, last but not least, I just wanted to mention this thing. We can't talk about open data without mentioning, the necessity to have some balance between openness but also protection. And we just mentioned that also with Joanna. There is like a strong necessity to address the personal data restriction as well, trade secret, confidential business information as well, intellectual property. It's just some example, but like we have more to tackle for sure. We can't discuss around open data and avoid, the sovereignty and strategic autonomy challenge as well. So as you may know, there is a big concern today in Europe about the dependency on foreign tech stack in terms of infrastructure, in terms of cloud, in terms of models as well. So it's very important to ensure that we are building our own champs, and we have some. Let's mention Mistral AI, for example. So yeah, there is like a concern around that. And the last one, but not least, it's the data inequality and representation. It's very, very important as a European citizen that tomorrow all the AI models could be trained on European data set as well, because we have to be represented inside this data set if we want to have like relevant response. I'm pretty sure if you ask ChatGPT to describe you like the most beautiful house in the world, maybe ChatGPT will respond and just like describe a big penthouse in Miami or something like that, because of the like just the data set coming from the US. But maybe ChatGPT tomorrow should respond like a beautiful house in Spain, or I don't know, in France, for example, could be amazing. So let's be represented inside this kind of data set, so the model as well, to ensure that we will be addressed, and the response, like the output, will be relevant for us as well. So my last word and the key takeaway for you, if I have to just like summarize what I just said, I would like to say scaling open data is not optional for us. It's the foundation for a sovereign, inclusive, and future-ready European AI ecosystem. And I think like the Europe is just in the right journey to do that. We see like the effort, we see the results, but yes, let's just keep pushing in this way and be part of this AI RAS journey altogether.
Thank you so much, Inés, for this presentation, advocating for data sharing. I love that. It's true that without high quality data, we cannot build this use case artificial intelligence. And I found very interesting when you were mentioning that the impact dimension of the ODM maybe in the future, in the years to come, it's expected to increase because we will have the possibility to also track how data can feed these AI models. Great. So now we will go into one of my favorite parts. That is when we interact with you. We have so many questions. So I would suggest that we go directly into that. So I don't know if I can see already Joanna. If you could come back to us and we could see you, so we could start the Q&A. Great. I have you back. Great. Thank you both very much for being part of this wonderful webinar. I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to moderate it. So great. So we have a lot of questions. So one of the main questions, Joanna, that I spotted was on the AI factories. It's true that in your presentation you were talking about so many initiatives. It's very difficult to go in detail in every one of them. So could you tell us a bit more about the AI factories, how the startups can make use of it, if they are aiming to provide a European cloud alternative to other big players outside of Europe? Just in case you can provide us more information about the AI factories and how they work.
Yes, sure, sure. So the Commission has identified that the establishment of the AI factor is a strategic priority. I'm saying strategic because it also touches on the second part of your question on the imbalanced markets now, and what the Commission would like to achieve and foster in the future in the Europe. So the AI factories will be there, and I believe the first one is or will be in Poland, so in my origin my origin country, in Poznań for all of the Polish participants here, and it will be intended to support startups with developing trustworthy AI. As we know, the Europe and the Commission identified it also because of that as a strategy and the priority for the future. We don't have such a computational power as we do for the big players in the US, for example. So because of that, we are also working on setting up the gigafactories that will provide this massive power that would enable the AI based solutions to be developed and marketed in the European Union. So on that one, on the gigafactories, we had the first call, and I understand that 76 applicants among the European Union proposed to have the gigafactories within the remit. So it's very exciting to see how it all will come around. I do not work on that personally. These are our colleagues from different units on the innovation that follow the files for the AI factories and the gigafactories. And I invite you all to really follow our digital strategy website, where we post every new the press releases with the new developments.
Great, thank you very much, Joanna, for the intervention. It gives us like a more hint, like information about AI factories. Anyway, I'm happy to see that also in the European Union website, there's like more detailed information about which are the countries involved, where are hosted these AI factories. So please don't hesitate to go there and get to know more about it. Ines, I have there was a question for you. I will be changing from one another, but please, if any the other one would like to also share their insights, feel free to also intervene. Um, they were asking about because you were making a very good connection about high quality data and artificial intelligence. But one user was asking, what is the criteria for what good quality, trustworthy data sets?
Okay, so it depends on the case, but for sure you need like updated data, so data which is like fresh. And when we are talking about like the quality, we are talking also about the format and the structure, but it depends on the use case. So depending on the use case that you will develop and deploy, you will like fix, you know, the criteria with like the data scientists to ensure that the data for the training and also like for feeding the model will be enough for the usage and the purpose that you want to address.
Yes, indeed, it is true, and I intervene here also because it's one of the areas of expertise of the European Data Portal that we have many regulations now that are giving more of a definition about what quality, high quality data is. We have the regulation on high value data sets that you previously mentioned. I
Yeah.
think this could, you have this sort of definition on what it is. And there was also another question on the licenses of data sets. It's true that we don't have established like an standardized European license, but for example, the European Commission is advocating for Creative Commons, which is an international
Yeah.
license, yes, licensing. But I don't know, Ines, also on your experience, if you see also, how do you see also this licensing? If you see also countries are creating their own licenses for sharing data, what is your opinion on that?
What I see in terms of administration, when we are talking about open data from administration, like the common license is like an international standard right now. So it's pretty good. So I just want to mention the fact that administration, like a good example around the open data. And sometimes the company want to just like surf, on this wave, but the license at the end is not the same. So we should be careful when we are talking about open data, like the real one. It's what kind of open data we can find inside this example, like inside the common licenses. So just
Indeed.
like verify all the time the licenses. It's my advice.
Thank you so much for that advice, Ines. Joanna, back to you. We also had a question on the AI office because I think it brought like a lot of interest from the audience. One question was on how do you work in practice because in terms of responsibilities and so on. Could you give us like a bit of hint about that, how it works internally, the AI office?
Sure, happy to. So we are established in Brussels and Luxembourg. Two of our units are in Luxembourg, four are in Brussels. I'm based in Brussels in the regulatory and compliance unit that deals with everything that you may think is deregulation. We have, for example, another unit, AI safety, that will deal with the enforcement for the general purpose AI models, and that is working now on setting that up. We have colleagues who work on the innovation part. So one of the points it's also one of the goals when in terms of recruitment for the AI office is that the AI office represents a true expertise on the AI. So we have attorneys like me, but we have also engineers and policy advisors who work
Mhm.
together to really tackle the issues with all of the relevant backgrounds. So when we discuss and when we prepare the guidelines, we try to really leverage all that great knowledge that we have, and we work with the technology specialists, engineers, to really make sure that what we propose, for example, from the legal point of view, makes sense in practice.
Indeed, Joanna, thank you for the overview. Actually, I think it's something that we're seeing in every department unit, also in my unit. Like, it's true that the complexity of this topic needs like this sort of expertise between policy and legislation and also the technology. Um, I guess that maybe Ines in your team might be the same, that you have a combination of all these profiles.
Yeah, definitely. And you should have, if you want to work on this topic, it's like a necessity.
Indeed, indeed. Joanna, there was another question for you because you were mentioning many guidelines, many tools. I don't know if this was already mentioned already, but just to emphasize about that, do you have guidelines to help public administrations to classify AI solutions? Is this in place? Is this one thing that is upcoming, or what is the state of play about that?
Sure. Happy to answer that and clarify. So we have an upcoming guidelines on the high risk use cases, and that will specifically focus on guiding stakeholders, including public administration, because we also address law enforcement, for example, border management, and asylum activities. So it's all private and public, to how to classify their AI solution and to check whether it falls under the definition of the high risk AI systems is one of the use cases or not. So that will specifically address that, and it's mandated by the AI Act, and is one of the priorities that we are working on now, and will work in fall. Well, also with the public stakeholders workshops with the member states to really learn what are the use cases that they are dealing with, to really prepare the list basically of what is an example of high risk in certain category and what is not. So in the terms of high risk systems, we are talking about the biometrics and 3 specific use cases. In that case, we are talking about education and vocational training, and specific use case, we are talking about use cases in law enforcement. We are talking about use cases for the border management, asylum, and refugees control. So we have also use cases in employment areas. So that will all be addressed in the guidelines that we are preparing.
Thank you very much for this, Joanna. Actually, this was also one of the questions, that how will artificial intelligence and also the artificial intelligence legislation facilitate data sharing between European public entities, like the other way around. So we were talking before about data to like to feed AI systems, but how do you think, and this is a question for you, Joanna and Ines, how do you think that this legislation is going to do the other way around? It's going to facilitate data sharing between European public administrations?
Go ahead if you want, Joanna.
Yeah, sure. So when I hear this question, and that also reflects on my background, because I do have experience on data protection law. So I would already have this background of like sharing data between specific authorities that's also mandated by other legislation that interplays with the AI Act. And we also have a specific cooperation systems that hopefully will be established between the market surveillance authorities and also several different authorities within the EU country, which will be responsible for specific sections. So this is in fluid. Member states are still have a little bit of time to appoint the market surveillance authorities and to let us know how they see it envisaged for the future, and hopefully that will also clarify those pertinent questions.
Yeah, totally aligned from my side. And I think even if the EU AI Act like doesn't mention explicitly the open data and the need to create like hub and like data space, this kind of thing in Europe, I think it's like just indirectly, because this is like I think from my side a pro innovation regulation. So, and it's well aligned with the other regulation as well, like the directive on like intellectual property and so on and so forth. So we should like look like on all the big package, on the regulation layer in Europe, to understand well where exactly the Europe wants to go, definitely.
Yeah, and just maybe to add on it, when I was thinking, yeah, I agree. Like the landscape is getting pretty complex with all of the EU legislation. However, the AI Act is really a product safety regulation, so we are tackling those specific safety issues, and then we have the interplay with the existing regulation that
Mhm.
catches all of the gaps and all of the thing in between. Let's say. And I also wanted to point out, maybe in this context, that the sandboxes, so AI regulatory sandboxes that will be developed within the member states, they can be also joint sandboxes between different member states, will also foster very that innovative and this approach that, for example, of the cooperation between the authorities, for example, in the context of AI systems that will be developed within the remit of AI regulatory sandbox, if process personal data, the data protection authority will be also involved and have some powers within the remit of their authority. So that's all, and they will be also advising and really fostering and having this idea of lessons learned and how we can improve and how we make sure that everything is compliant under the AI Act, but as well and under other regulations. So sandboxes is also something to look for, like, and very exciting.
Thank you very much, Joanna. There are way more questions. I would suggest, because there's also people leaving, that we will, the three of us, try to reply to your questions later in the follow-up email. We can work on that, because there were so many questions, very interesting insights. So I would suggest that the follow-up, so just to keep it on time. So as I was mentioning before, we will be on our summer break, but stay tuned on our activities. There will be more things coming up. We have a very interesting second part of the year where we will have a data visualization training, hands-on training. We will have data spaces on tourism. We will have a presentation on the data union strategy and the state of play. So please stay tuned about all these activities. as you may know, and this was one topic of the discussion, we have different European data regulation, and now in the shape of the future data union strategy, the European Commission is asking for your views from the businesses, researchers, and also from public sector. So please participate in this survey. You still have time, and you will give your bit to this future European data strategy. But last but not least, your opinion about how the webinar went, your feedback is very important for us. And we look forward to your feedback. And now I would like to thank so much Inés and Joanna for this wonderful time together, where we learned so much from you. Looking forward to further collaboration together. And yes, I hope you have a nice rest of Friday and weekend. Thank you so much for your time. Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Inma. Thank you, Joanna. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.